Hey folks, and welcome back to Glenn and Adrian's Rock Talk. That's Adrian.
And that's Glenn.
And today we're going to look at part 2 of 5 of Bugs Gonzalez coming over to the Warning House and checking out the band. We saw them play Survive for him in the last video, and he was just blown away. And he loves them as musicians, too. I mean, there really is something extraordinary about this band. I mean, there's a reason we give them so much attention. They are so good, and it's a rare thing to see a band this together. So with that, we're going to take a look at part 2 today. I'm not exactly sure when this was taped. We're pretty sure it was before the first time that The Warning played the Whiskey, just based on his comments in the last video. And so we look forward to checking this out. Adrian, any thoughts ahead before we dive in?
I also look forward to checking this out.
Let's check it out.
Then I'm kind of curious about, I want to get that sound too.
I usually just do it so like these two don't sound the same, and then just do that one a little lower.
Right.
I really, it's just like trial and error for me.
Right.
So
I mean, yeah. I mean, what can I say? I mean, it's just like you're killing it.
I love that you play with.
Oh, right. Yeah, this whole thing came about, obviously, being a fan of jazz and just kind of like gravitating towards playing those things. And then, being in a band that has 3 guitars, it kind of became handy to kind of like, if we were going to play a part of the tune like you guys are doing, when you're driving the thing. So yeah, I mean, it kind of like there was a band here from Monterrey called Zurdok, and their drummer was very meat and potatoes, and he always played with the butt end of the stick. He actually used these sticks that had just butt ends, and so I realized that from the traditional, it's just back and forth, and so I just kind of naturally gravitated towards that. But I like what you're doing, where it's just like, I think match grip is definitely with the drums being able to be set up any way you want them, because traditional, comes from this idea of the marching drum that used to hang, from the side, and so it was easier to do it like this than to do it like this. But nowadays, I mean, traditional is only like an option to be able, at least for me, to be able to get, left-handed. I saw John Bonham play on TV once, and so, and I looked at it and I said, he's got his hands crossed like this. So I kind of looked at the TV and kind of like went like, oh, so it's like this. And I just like, probably 6, 7 years old. And then when I went and took my first lesson, the teacher had me write on a form, and he saw it were with the left hand, so he turned it all the other way around, and I was like, no, this doesn't feel, this feels weird. And so it just, like, my right foot felt more natural like this. But the problem that I had was that I started to roll with my left. And then so like, so I had to kind of retrain to be able to. You know what? No, you were actually really good at it because you're playing for the tune, and all this stuff came about from just fooling around, from being in bands that required me to play these grooves, you know. And so, remember the first time Tom Sawyer's all.
Not a bad drummer.
Not at all. Yeah.
So that did not come right there immediate, you know, when you think of how Neil Peart plays. But the thing with the foot is, as I started paying attention to what the hands were doing, then at the feet, right? So if I'm playing singles on the hands, so just started playing with those. Kind of like figuring patterns that would make sense and putting them to work, because then if you have those four limbs, sure, it sounds really cool when you play with one foot and you do all. But then if you have the other one. I guess, right?
Yeah.
So, but I mean, we'll work on some patterns and some things that have to do with that, you know, achieving that interdependence between the hands and the feet.
Yeah.
And for me, it's been a process of, you know, the bands that I played in that had that same rock feel that you guys play, just pushing it to the place where I would do these things in the practice room that maybe you can't get away with doing in the band, but when you own it and you finally feel really comfortable, then you try to pull them off. Yesterday, you know, it was funny hearing them listening to me, because I know that they're afraid that I might go out, but I'm actually pushing myself to go out, because no matter what happens, if I really take it out there and they don't know where I'm at, then I can listen to them and bring it back to them. It's almost like a trust, and I see that trust in you guys, you know? When you guys are playing, it's like you're connected. That feels great.
Yeah.
Oh my God, yeah. But I can't wait to, you know, either when I'm here in Monterrey, us, you know, talk drums and
That would be so
yeah.
cool.
And I love everything that you're doing. It just sounds amazing, amazing.
Bugs is pretty good at the drums too. You know, they were discussing advanced drum techniques, such as using the butt end of the stick instead of the tip. Pretty interesting stuff I didn't know about drums.
I found the butt end of the stick part interesting, since we've noticed lately that when they do acoustic sets, that's how Pau often plays the snare. It's with the stick turned around. Of course, that's a much simpler situation than most of what he was demonstrating there. Pau is an excellent drummer, and he pointed that out. It's not just how she's carrying out these pieces, it's also how they're getting arranged. The arrangements that they come up with are just amazing, and they're of a piece. It's almost like they're part of the same jigsaw puzzle, and it all comes together, you know, properly in the end. That's a really incredible skill. It seems like an easy thing to do. It's not an easy thing to do, you know. So, especially to get three different musicians to agree to what those things are going to be. So it seems like a very democratic process for them. You know, they can all get in their thoughts and feelings, and they can vote on things if they need to, or rock, paper, scissors, or whatever they do, and come to the final pieces that we all know and love. They really are amazing. I mean, there's only a few bands that I can say have worked like this that I've really become a fan of. Beatles are one, where they all constructed things based on what each person was doing, and it's thoughtful. You know, you listen to it and you're like, this goes together really well. Somebody put a lot of thought into this, and it works so well. It's almost like solving the Rubik's Cube. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of like that. I don't really know how to describe it other than that. They're able to take the elements and make that happen, and that is so huge. That is what makes them incredible. All right, that was really cool. I'm glad we're taking a look at these. People have been mentioning these for quite some time now. I just did the English interview, their very first interview in English from 2015 the other day, and people have been requesting that almost since we began doing warning reactions, so way back earlier in the year. Anyway, this is another one like that, and there will be other things. We're trying to catch up on some of those long-standing requests that people have had. So if you have any, especially anything that you've been asking for a while, go ahead and leave it below. Jog our memories. We'll make sure it's on the list if it seems to fit. And in the meantime, why don't you let us know what your impressions were, the whole experience there with Bugs playing and them sharing their processes with each other. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. And if you enjoyed our presentation, please subscribe. All right, thanks so much for joining us, and we'll catch you on the next one. All right, take care, folks.
See you all later.